And what is up, YouTube? Welcome back. This is Genome here. If you guys are just catching this again for the first time, if you're just tuning in here, this is a two-part. This is the second video of my intro that I'm going to start here, a new series called How They Program You. And what I was briefly talking about in the first one is destroying this whole zombie hoax, okay? When I have to come into conversations with people, and I'm not pulling out Joanne Steen out of the box, okay? The only reason that this entire thing started made, or, I started making this in the first place, for the simple fact that I'm actually carrying on these conversations outside of the conspiratorial realm, which is absolutely horrible, okay? First and foremost, this zombie virus, okay, is absolutely impossible. Given how it's displayed, okay, the theory that's presented is complete rhetoric, absolute garbage rhetoric. It's impossible, okay. And I discussed in the first one how, that it's a single strand of RNA, DNA. That's what a virus is, folks. Okay, it writes the program. It doesn't recognize the program. It writes it itself. Okay. If somebody wants to leave a comment below, and you want me to discuss about what I think would happen if there's missing gaps in the DNA sequence of using the rabies vaccine, okay, because don't forget, if that's the case with the ZMapp, we are pulling out parts of the sequence, okay, parts of the sequence that, promote the virus and stuff like that. We're destroying, and we're putting in empty code, okay, and we're combining it with other codes, so forth and so on, to write a new program. That's how viruses work, okay. That's also how vaccines work. Vaccines, basically, that's why they have, genetic compositions within inside them to write new programs in the human body. All right, I really think that before a lot of this fear is blown out of proportion, I really think that people need to go and kind of get in tune with this, kind of read up on it, okay? And like I said, I'm not throwing anybody under the bus in my first one. I subscribe to the channel, and, I appreciate the work from everybody, okay? So that's not the point of this, but the point is, you're being programmed on all ends. Okay, so I'm going to move on from this here, and if you haven't checked out the first video, please go back, take a look at it, and leave the comments below. Absolutely leave the comments below. There's no reason that any of this should not get discussed. I don't discriminate against anybody, as I talked about in previous videos, and videos I first put up on this channel that didn't get many views. Color, religion, background, it has no meaning, okay? And that should ring a bell with everybody, man. There should be no reason to discriminate anybody for anything, regardless of anything. And I'm gonna move on here, okay? And so like I said, don't buy into this zombie shit. This is complete, gimmick rhetoric garbage, and you got to be careful, okay? Like I said, if I didn't have to discuss this outside of the conspiratorial realm, there'd be no need for videos like this. But people are believing into this stuff, okay? They do have huge audiences, and I talked about in the very first video how it becomes a disease. It spreads, man. All right, especially when you're not talking about facts or any sort of logic whatsoever, okay? So that needs to be discussed, man. And real quick, I'm going to go back because I didn't want to dispose of this channel completely off the rip, okay? I kind of talked about the psyops thing, and but I want to bring back this whole hoax attention thing, and I want to get into how they program you. And he talks a lot about a hoax, okay? A hoax. And then he gets in and he's got other videos, and if you run through his channel, he talks about the fear porn and how MSN loads on the fear porn and how mainstream media, Vice News, loads on the fear porn, okay? And this is where I really want you guys to study your basic psychology and pay attention to this, okay? They're using fear porn to exploit fear porn. That is basic, bottom line self-acceptance, okay? And it's the people that buy into it and spread it that's the problem. It's not actually the creation of this, okay? It's the people that buy into it and spread it. And there's a very wise saying, okay, that goes around. And I don't know if you've heard this, and I'm not too familiar with actually who said it. I just picked it up one day and happened to remember it. I'll have to look it up and maybe leave a link for you guys in the description. But the most insane thoughts are processed from the most sane minds, okay? And keep that in mind as you guys kind of, a lot of people like to separate, and I talk about this. I'm very big on separation. I don't think it needs to exist, but conspiracy is one way that we classify people and push that group of individuals aside, okay? So when you approach something, okay, with a straight direction, and you kind of push, anybody that buys into that stuff is automatically singled out of the box. They're not even, they're not even a part of the collective basis anymore. Okay, so I mean, you got to keep that in mind. And when if you actually analyze things, and somebody uses fear porn to exploit fear porn, okay, it's called pushing an agenda. All right, and it all basically falls back into profit, okay, because it's done for the money. I'm trying to get everybody to realize this. All these big channels that you watch, some of these people are making ridiculously stupid amounts of money, okay? Some of the highest paid YouTube channels make over 16 million a year, okay? And if you look at some of the stuff they put up, it's completely, I don't know why. All right, I don't even want to get into that. That's not part of this series. But I'm completely fascinated by human thought and the human thought process and what they find interesting. And, I look at my retention levels from all my other channels and I look at the channels that have absurd millions of views, and it's like, wow, okay. So you got to keep that in mind, man. Everybody is trying to program you at once. Okay, it doesn't matter what it is. But if you quickly go through, some of these other sites, and it's fear porn exploiting fear porn is basically what it comes down to, and that's what I'd like to, get back to that basis of basic psychology right there, man. It's basic psychology. Okay, you're being manipulated. Your views are being manipulated into all that. I want to put Red Pill and Free Radio out of the way here, because like I said, I enjoy both the channels. I subscribe to both the channels, and but I just wanted to throw that out there. I want to throw out the people that are giving you these conspiracy, okay, these theories, these things to think about, and I really don't want to use the word conspiracy because that's one of these key words, and I'm going to talk about that later in these series, okay? These key words that people use to segregate you, okay? Illuminati, NWO, World Order. You're all being segregated by that stuff, and anybody that buys into that whole kind of description, all right, you doing nothing but putting yourself way in a whole group of people that you don't want to belong to at this point in time. And don't get me wrong, people, I'm not saying that there's a problem with discussing this, with talking about it, with believing some of it, okay? That's even fathomable. But when you key into this rhetoric, okay, you completely discriminate yourself from the rest of the world, and you need to be careful for that, okay? Now, with that being said, I brought up fear porn. I'm going to move on to the two of the biggest fear porn channels that are on here, okay? And I'm going to put this guy out here first, okay? Alex Jones. There's plenty of garbage on Alex Jones, all right? Almost, 900,000 subscribers. Huge worldly influence into the garbage rhetoric realm of conspiracy. Okay, the man never talks about Zionism. Like, there's plenty of videos uncovering this controlled opposition of force right here, okay? And this controlled opposition, and this is why I keep these two together, is the same as this controlled opposition right here, okay, with his 114,000 subscribers, and he's got 27 channels, all right, of all nothing but his videos. So he's making multiple amounts of revenue on the same rhetoric, okay? And this is what I really want you people to catch on to this stuff, because you're buying into it. You're absolutely buying into it, and the public really needs to kind of put crap like this aside, man, all right? But these two guys are in the same band camp right here, all right? It's garbage, and plain and simple, man. It's absolute garbage. But as I was saying, okay, fear porn, they use fear. Going back to basic psychology, this is a way to program you right here. They use one of your most manipulable, okay, feelings, which is fear. It is absolutely the most manipulative feeling that you can have. It's very easily played, it's very easily shifted, and it's very directional, okay? And it leaves you to irrational thought. You don't approach anything with logic, and creates a huge problem, okay? Absolutely huge problem, and none of these problems are needed at this point in time, and But like I was saying, okay, so you guys kind of got to keep everything in retrospective here, man. And don't forget, some of the media stations, they use the same tactics, man. They use the same kind of programming, the same fear porn to create fear porn. And then they segregate the people that speak of conspiracy, and the people that speak of conspiracy segregate the mainstream media. Do you see the vicious cycle of how they program you? Okay, I really hope you enjoyed this this little 25, 27-minute kind of monologue commentary type thing here. And I promise on my next, my next video, I'm going to get into some segments here of breaking down frames per second. Okay, and the fact that people don't see when a video is created at 29 frames per second, you don't see that one of those frames. You don't see half of those frames. I could stick a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo under those frames that doesn't even express in your brain, but it completely hits your subconscious memory, okay, and your subconscious brain. So we're going to get into a bunch of cool stuff with this series, and we're going to have some fun with it. But I encourage you, please leave a comment down below on anything you want to discuss, anything you want to get into. All right, thoughts are absolutely open. Like I said, none of these are scripted at all. This is complete me coming off the top of my head, and I want you guys to come off the top of your head, and let's work on that better future. All right, peace, YouTube. This has been G Gnome, man, and like I said, man, I appreciate everything you guys are. All right, enjoy.